Okay, it's a little after 5:30. We're going to go ahead and get started. At this time, I would like to call our regular monthly meeting for October to order. And if everyone at this time would please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. At this time, would everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. At this time, we'll move down to approval of our agenda. And does anyone have any additions to our agenda tonight? If not, I'll need a motion to approve the agenda. I have a motion by Mr. Johar. Second by Ms. Yonit. All in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. And we'll move down now to our recognitions with Ms. Embry.
Good evening, board members, and good evening, all you guests. We have a very special recognition for you all this evening. As you know, we are now in our second full year of the Profile Learner, and we are beginning to recognize once a month each of the 5 competencies. So for the month of October, we are doing Engaged Citizen. We have 3 who we would like to recognize tonight. For the Engaged Citizen, I want to remind you that this individual adds value to the community and purposefully pursues opportunities to make a positive impact. This individual acts responsibly and evaluates the impact of his or her interaction with others, along with actively engaging in the school community. So one of our substitute teachers, her name is Miss Tammy Durrell, she stopped by Sonic with her parents one evening last month. And while she was there, her car wouldn't crank. And so without hesitation, 3 students who also work at Sonic came to her rescue. They popped the hood, they figured out what was wrong, they used one of their vehicles to jump her car and get it going. They proceeded to advise her to go straight home, not to turn the vehicle off until she got home, so that they knew that she would be safe. And we think, wow, what a perfect image of an engaged citizen. We have 3 students, are not only high school students doing the work, but they're also working at a job and assisting other people that was not part of their job description. So we want to recognize those 3 students tonight. I do want to say, she quoted, these students are working, carrying a full school load, and then were willing to stop and help us when we needed help. And I will say that Miss Tammy Durrell, she's on her way on a vacation. She was unable to be with us tonight, which makes her sad because she came by the high school yesterday and got a picture with a couple of them. And I will share that on our social media. But we just want to say kudos to you parents as well for raising good citizens. So I would like to invite each of the 3 students up when I call your name. And Miss Orr, if you would come, I've got a plaque for each one, and we'll stand over by the wall and take a photo. So I want to begin, and this is going to be our first Engaged Citizen Award of the 2025-2026 school year. Miss Kaylee Piper. Miss Kaylee is the granddaughter of Sandra Garrett. Sorry, you need that, don't you? Congratulations, Kaylee. They're not in any order, just as I grab them. Mr. Jericho Jones, he is the son of JC and Beth Jones. And last but certainly not least, Mr. Austin Latham. Austin is the son of Anthony and Jessica Latham. We are excited that it's time to start recognizing for the competency. I truly enjoy looking for each month who that's going to be. So if you all see someone next month, I believe it's going to be our effective collaborator. Please let me know. Congratulations to you all. I would invite the families and the students to meet me in the hallway. We'll take a few more pictures and then you can slide out.
Or you can stay.
Or you can stay, that's right. Thank you.
I don't think anybody ever opts for that. Except Wilson. Wilson, yeah, he did.
It was a nice letter.
All right, we'll move down now to our treasurer's report. Mr. Blitzinger.
Hello, Sharon Rager, board members. I got some stents in my nose, so I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, I wondered.
Forgive me.
It wasn't care, thank God.
Yeah, no, she didn't punch me. Tonight I bring you the financials as of September 30th. The revenues. This month, we had 2.4 million in revenues. They're down 1.4 million from last month and down 235,000 from the same period last year. SEEK is unchanged. Federal is down 9,000. We went back and forth with our federal cash requests over, believe it or not, $2.64. So they didn't pay it out this month. So we should be getting it in the month of October. So it's just one of those silly things. So state is down 293,000. Taxes are down 1.2 million. Other is up 38,000. Food service is up 3,000, and daycare is up $684. So expenditures, on the expenses side, we had 2.565 million in expenses. That's down approximately 705,000 compared to the same period last year. Some of the significant bills in September were Eve's insurance for 704,000. That's our insurance package for the year. Carpet decorators, $267,881. Mojo Sports, $117,930. CNC contracting, $92,589. Mechanical consultants, $87,255. Most of them are obviously construction, so that's what we've got going on. Payroll was about 3.1 million, and it was up 48,000 versus September of 24 for a total of 5.64 million. And again, most of that was in construction and just fund expenses
That both the construction longest and middle?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Further breakdown, other fixed expenses about 1.8 million, variable expenses of 753,000, and utilities expense of about 43,700. We didn't get all the utility bills. They didn't come in on time last month, so I know Nona's been working with, and Stephanie over at maintenance have been working with KU to get those to us. So are there any questions?
Any questions on the treasurer's report? If not, I'll need a motion to approve. Motion by Mr. Johar. Second by Ms. Yantz. All in favor of approving the treasurer's report, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. And down to payment of bills and salaries.
All right, thank you again, Chairman Rager, board members. October board bills, we bring $1,308,240.15. 15,000 of that is utilities expenses, about 1.2 of fixed and mixed expenses, and variable expenses about 59,000. The largest chunk is Old National Wealth Management, which are two large bond payments that have come due, and then Summit Engineering for $72,777.
Any questions on bills and salaries? If not, I need a motion to approve.
Make a motion.
A motion by Ms. Ford, and I'll second. All in favor of approving payment of bills and salaries, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I hear none. And we're down to public participation.
Thank you, Chairman Rager.
Thank you. None? Okay. So we'll move down now to our administrative report and start with the superintendent report.
Okay, we'll start with Mr. Lee Jones for Greenville, who's going to share an update from the school.
Board, colleagues, visitors, thank y'all for allowing me to talk a little bit about Greenville Elementary. I've heard other principals talk about themes and things of such at previous board meeting. Ours is a throwback to Black Hawk Pride. This year, we talked and we wanted to give our kids a good old-fashioned experience like many of us remembered that we had whenever we were in school. So we've decorated school very classic, very streamlined, and Black Hawk paraphernalia. So we've had a lot of positive feedback about that. We have started our Black Hawk Pride, which is a PBIS initiative, and the one thing that we're trying to make sure that our students understand and our teachers understand, our parents understand that our expectations and the way that we operate within the school community is as much of their education as the reading, the math, science, social studies, and et cetera. So we set those expectations very clear, and for the first week of school, our specials spent time where they would go to every part of the school and show the kids what the expectations are. And we've all heard, they should know this or they should know that. They don't, so we're trying to teach them. And that has been an emphasis, and they earn rewards. Rather than saying your reward is this, and then if a kid doesn't meet those expectations taken away, we're allowing our kids to earn things. So I think that that's a powerful thing that even as adults that we should appreciate. So it's been a good start to that. As far as activities, our 5th grade got to take a walk up to the summer house during September the 11th, and the plan was to go on uptown, but we got a lesson in the First Amendment that day. There was a little protest going on. It was completely peaceful. There was no issues, but after talking to our DPP who was on site, we decided just to talk to the kids about what our freedoms are and how First Amendment allows peaceful protest and what that looks like. So we talked about that a little bit, went back to the school. The Better Together Day, I enjoyed. I don't know, Mr. Lyle might have a different opinion, but Mr. Lyle spent the day with me along with Miss Robards and Miss Cooper. I think they enjoyed the day. I know we enjoyed the day, and they were able to get in and roll up their sleeves and take part of all the fun that happens at Greenville Elementary. One of my visions was to make Greenville Elementary a place where the community and parents could come in. Now, y'all know that we have restraints at Greenville. We're landlocked. We have very little parking, and it makes it very difficult. So that could be used as an excuse, well, we're just not going to bring people in. We find ways, and we've got creative, and with the Fall Festival, we had dozens of volunteers. We made it work. People were parking all over the place, but we made it work. Our PTO is amazing. Their involvement, their willingness to pour into our school and our kids is just unmatched, and I'm very proud of them for that. Our Fall Festival was a hit. We had, I don't have any way of telling you how many people we had. I know that we had a crowd that was there until the inflatables were deflating at the end of the night. And I'm happy to report there was no problems or issues or injuries, so that's always good. That was the main thing that I was trying to get home that night without having any reports to file. Student-led initiative. Leadership's a huge thing in a kid's kids' education, and we're looking at the older students, the 4th, 5th graders, and student news is something that they're getting to take an opportunity to take a leadership role on, help with announcements. That's something I started probably a month into school, and now I've had to get a list because of all the kids that want to come help with announcements. In conflict resolution, quick example, had a few friends that have had a history of not getting along, and we're working through ways that them two are together more instead of keeping them apart, which is the Band-Aid fix. And in an elementary school, you're not going to keep them apart all the time, so I was like, let's do the opposite, let's put them together. And I'm happy to report that through those efforts, those two young men led our Pledge of Allegiance at our first assembly together per their request. So I'm really proud of that, but it's all because of the kids making the effort to do things that sometimes even as adults that we can't do. A few more things and I'll wrap it up. We're bringing our school archery team back where we're sanctioned now with our PE teacher being BAI certified. Our academic team's in full swing. Our 4-H club held their elections this week. And our club days are starting for our 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders in November, where we'll assign teachers clubs that they get to have input on what they do, and we'll assign kids to that. Some community service. Logan Aluminum's working through our 3rd grade to do an aluminum can collection. We are also doing a shoe drive with the Greenville Fire Department, so that's part of an engaged citizen. We're collecting shoes, and they're going to turn those in, and it's all the proceeds go to the Humane Society. How shoes equals money for a Humane Society, I don't know, but we're excited to be taking part in that. And I mentioned the Black Hawk Assembly. We had over 50 parents in our building who had not been in for an assembly since pre-COVID, and they were ecstatic. It was standing room only, parking, we made it work, we found ways, and we're tickled to death to get those parents back in. Halloween parade, we'll get more parents in there, and then our Veterans Day. So again, that's going to be a focus this year, is finding ways to make it happen. Even with our limited parking, we're exhausting every idea to make sure that our parents can take part in their kids' education. I'll finish with this. I want to thank the admin team. Whenever I made this transition from higher education, well, not higher education, but secondary education down to the elementary level, my colleagues back here and district leadership have been amazing. Everybody responds to texts, calls, without me even prompting them, how's it going? What do you need? Do you have any questions? I couldn't be more proud to be a part of that team, and I'm very, very appreciative of them. I'll finish with this, my little story. Don't take yourself too seriously. I've been working with this kindergartner since school started, 2 months, giving kindergarten teacher a break. He needs a walk every now and then. This student has been with me a lot, and I'm pouring into this kid thinking I'm making a difference, mentoring him. And I guess it was right before fall break, after 2 months of working with this young man, he looks up at me and says, "Who are you anyway?" Y'all have any questions?
Making a difference, lady.
Yeah. One kindergartner at a time.
Must be an AI joke, kind
Do y'all have any questions?
of. Keep up the good work, very positive. Thank you very much.
Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
All right, so next is Stacy Jones, update on instruction.
All right, so I come tonight to share with you, we finished our Bradance Fall Diagnostic. October 3rd was the final day, so we are in full swing in the instructional mode of getting the instruction started in math and reading, of course, all the other areas. But tonight, I wanted to start with just giving you a snapshot. Of course, our principals, our schools, they are looking at their individual data very closely. Classroom teachers really dive into their individual students' data, and iReady gives us so much information. To be honest, there's probably so much more information that we've even gotten to yet, but we are working on that. Next Tuesday at our principals meeting, we will have a chance to, as an admin group, look at our district data a lot closer. But today I bring a snapshot of how we compare. As you will see, the district, and you have copies of this in your file, the district bar is on the far right compared to the state and the national. Now this is, of course, remember, this is the fall test, so this is students starting at the beginning of the year. One thing that's really important to remember in the fall is the yellow does mean in the fall that students with a little targeted support, they are ready for the instruction. They are where they should be to be ready for the current grade level they are at. Now, they do need a little more targeted support than those students that are already following in the green, but that is still in the fall. We want to look at that and remember we want to keep them moving up, though, and see a lot of growth. So hopefully, when I come back after our winter diagnostic in January, hopefully we'll see a lot of growth. That is reading that I started out with. I'm going to then move to math. Again, you will see that we are very consistent for the most part with the state, with the students that have tested across the nation for our fall results. Now, I thought what would be interesting tonight is for us to look closely at, after summer, we fully anticipate as educators that students have had a big break during the summer. They haven't done much practice in reading and math as much as we would wish for, and usually there is that summer slide. I am going to start with math. Now, what I want you to really focus on the table is that second row at the bottom is the expected gain or loss. So according to norms, this is what iReady anticipates. So in math, they anticipated, and I won't go through each grade level, but I will just, for example, look at grade 1. 2-point decline or a loss is expected in the summer, and in math we did have a 3-point loss. So across that board, you want to look at that second row and then compare the darker blue bar on the bar graph and see where we are compared to the norms. And again, that is math, and that was our K through 5. And then on my next slide, Jared, I may have to get you to... There we go, wait a minute. On our next slide, it is middle school, and I do want to brag on, you can look there at our 6th grade. Well, we had a 0 gain or loss on 6th grade, but middle school was looking a little bit better on that. Now I'm going to move to reading. And this is something, as you all know, this is our primary reading report. And I'll look at 1st grade, from kindergarten to 1st grade, over the summer and after, when students come back in the fall, iReady expects a 0. No loss, but no gain on that assessment. But you will notice our students actually had a 4-point increase. Kindergarten through 3rd grade, or 1st through 3rd grade, we see that we are doing well with that. And even on 5th grade, you see where they expected a 1 there, but then in middle school, do want to look closely at the 6th grade. They expected a loss of 1 point. Of course, the 4, but then 8th grade sort of brings that up to 1 point. So we have some areas that we need to look at closely, but we noticed that in reading, all the work that we're doing in our primary, as we know, we have a lot of programs with reading. So I was talking to Vicki Yonch yesterday. I'm like, okay, we need to start incorporating some math. She said the plans are there, so we're going to look at that together and start moving some more mathematics. And across the board, the schools, we've been discussing that with our math instruction. There's a lot of things going on there. All right, so then I want to go back. Do want to share with you kindergarten screening as far as morning instruction. Kindergarten screening is finished. That was completed and sent to the state yesterday. 100% of our kindergarten students were screened, and we expect to get some results back from that closer to January is when we'll receive that. KSA results will be given to us, anticipated right now, November 19th is when they will go public, is the anticipation. information. We did get a surprise this summer, and you all have probably maybe heard that the high school was a little surprised, to say the least, that the state decided to change from ACT, which we've used for many, many, many years, to SAT. After that announcement was made this summer, of course, vendor ACT protested that decision, and it's been up in the air, but right before fall break, we did get the final decision. They're definitely going with SAT. Now, in saying that, that doesn't mean that students can't still take the ACT. Ms. Carrie Clark, as a matter of fact, she leads many tests. How many times per year? 5 times per year the ACT is given as a district assessment that parents can just opt to purchase for their students. There are some waivers available for students to take the ACT. We're hoping that maybe that will happen in the near future for SAT as well. But that transition is being made. It's a very different test. So we do need to look at preparing our students for SAT. Totally different. It's an adaptable test. It's a lot different questioning. So our high school is requesting, and something we want to look at is possibly giving the pre-SAT to our sophomores and maybe even earlier than that. Right now we have about 305 sophomores, so we're looking at the prices on that right now, about $18 probably per test. So we're going to look closely at that because we want the students to be as prepared as possible. Fortunately, some of the programs that we have purchased in the last few years, for instance, Edgenuity, we just made that big switch a couple of years ago. Renaissance Center went to Edgenuity. The high school just did. They do have SAT prep, and there are some resources for training. So we do have those in place. That's all I have.
Thank you. So then, an update from Summit. Charles?
Hello, everybody's having a good day. I just want to update you on the Muhlenberg County Fieldhouse. The expected final completion date was this month on the 29th. We've had a delay in that. It'll be pushed into November 21st because of the roof panel manufacturers have yet to get the panels manufactured and delivered. They should be on site November the 6th. Construction will still be underway on the other items, and when that comes in, then they'll finish it out, and we'll have a tour through it and let all y'all look and see what it looks like. Thank y'all so much. That was it.
Right, so then I have Ross Tarrant. They're going to give us project schedules, some information on that for you all.
Good evening, Board. We were here about 2 months ago at the August board meeting when we got hired, and we presented these schedules, and just want to give you guys an update of where we kind of at in the process. In a few minutes, we'll give a better, more in-depth update of the Oxygen renovation addition. So for the K-Fix and DFP plan, it takes about 2 months for us to do all our documentation. So since we talked to you guys 2 months ago, we've been in about every square foot of school that you guys own and documented it, and creating floor plans and stuff to indicate how the spaces are used. The next step of that process is we're going to reach out to Ms. Orr and Mr. Gill, Director of Facilities, and kind of just confirm our observations or how the spaces are actually being used, because that goes back to the KDE model program to see where you might be deficient in types of spaces in the building. At the same time, we've been talking to Mr. Gill about just kind of facility conditions and stuff, so we can make a visual observation, but sometimes he's more aware of when things are replaced or things on his hit list that need to be replaced. So we're kind of having those conversations concurrently. So we anticipate to submit that to KDE for the initial submittal here in probably the next 2 weeks. And then the KDE process with LPC meetings and stuff, ideally is a 4-month process, but we can't control how fast KDE moves. And with an LPC meeting, you have 20 people on it, probably schedules and stuff on holidays. But ideally, it's a 4-month kind of thing to kind of get through. So we're working on that, pushing that forward, and then trying to get that out to kind of get the district utility plan kind of in and approved. So that's the update on that one. In terms of the auxiliary gym addition, so we're presenting to you tonight here in a few minutes the SD drawing for approval. So this is kind of preliminary design. We've been working on developing.
No, not that one yet.
We're not going to show that one yet. But we will show you that in a minute. So that's a sneak peek. But we've been working with Ms. Orr again, Mr. Gill, Director of Facilities, Josh with Codell, kind of our CM team, and then Ms. Moore's been getting feedback from the principal at the high school. We're just trying to figure out what that addition needs to be, understanding kind of what the budget needs to be based on what we have and what we think current construction costs are. So we get approval of SD submittal hopefully tonight, so that's preliminary drawings, kind of big picture, understanding what's in the space, how the spaces are adjacent and all that stuff. Also going to look to try to approve up tonight the initial BG1 for the project. So I think that's in your all's folders. We'll talk about that in a few more minutes. After tonight, we will jump into the DD phase. That's where we start adding materials and more details to the drawings. Which is about to be another 2-month kind of design timeline, and then we'll be back here in December to get approval on that. And then following that's construction document phase, where we actually kind of put all the details and stuff how it actually gets built. And then kind of we're working on this still with Josh at Codell, but the bid period is anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks with the hope that summer starts, or construction starts, right after school lets out in summer of 26. So we're on schedule, as we talked about, and we always try to do that, and I'm glad to say we are. So. Any questions on the 2 schedule at this time? Okay, thank you.
Move down now to our attendance and enrollment report. Mr. Watkins.
Good afternoon, Chairman, regular board members. Month 2 is actually the first full month of attendance and enrollment, so that goes through September the 4th through October the 1st. So the numbers that you see on month 2 are actually the first full month, which is 20 student days. So as a district, we were at 94.1% and 4,123 students. Muhlenberg South Elementary was our elementary division leader at 95.61%, and the middle school was our leader in the upper grades at 93.81%. And that is the attendance and enrollment report, unless you all have any questions.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, at this time, we'll move down to our board action items, and item A is to approve the contract between the Muhlenberg County Board of Education and Ross Torrent Architects for the Longest Elementary School Early Childhood Center.
So these were, we approved utilizing Ross Torrent at a prior board meeting. So this is just the contract, the formal AIA contract for that process.
Any questions? I have a motion by Mr. Johar, second by Ms. Bard. All in favor of approving the contract for the Board of Education and Ross Torrent, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I hear none. And now we're down to approve the contract between the Board of Education and Ross Torrent for the Muhlenberg County High School Auxiliary Gym addition.
And that's the same thing, but just for the different location.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Second by Ms. Yance. All in favor of approving the contract between the Board of Education and Ross Torrent for Muhlenberg County Auxiliary Gym, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. Item C is to approve the initial BG1 for Muhlenberg County High School Auxiliary Gym.
So within your package, you will see the initial BG1. We've been working, as I said, with Codell to kind of help figure out kind of the current costs in the construction market and stuff, kind of make sure what the project's going to cost based on the current size of the addition is about 16,000 square feet, kind of based on square foot cost at this stage in the design. That's how we really do that, because they don't have all the details of the system worked out. And then also the cost related to replacing the bleachers in the existing gymnasium. So those two together is tracking about $8 million construction cost there. The other costs you see there are the construction contingency. That's a 5% of the construction cost. That's kind of required by KTE. You can always do more, but that's the minimum. Architects fees, engineering fees, construction management fee. The district got with their fiscal agent, kind of understood the cost for the bond and the fiscal agent fee. And then we calculated this with other known costs. We know things like site surveys. I think that actually the geotech price probably bundled in there as well. The printing cost, advertising that goes out to bid. You always have commissioning, you have like testing and balancing and stuff, just kind of the cost, the spin reports, the special inspections, just kind of those soft costs that we always see, when you don't do a construction project. So all that kind of added up is right now about 9.7 million, and that is the current BG.
All right, any questions on that? to approve the initial BG1 for the Muhlenberg County High School Auxiliary Gym?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Yance, second by Mr. Joe Hart. All in favor of approval of the BG1 for the high school gym, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. Item D is to approve the schematic design for documents.
This is the exciting part we get to talk about. Not that schedules aren't fun and budgets aren't fun. They're all very important in the process, but we get to talk about the design here. So we've been working, as I said, with Ms. Orr. She's been getting feedback from the principal. We're working with Codell Construction and the director, so Derek, and we've have developed this plan. So we got feedback of what type of spaces they felt were critical in the plan. I know everyone's kind of, over the years, have envisioned this side of the building kind of right adjacent off the existing gym, like the football side of the building, football stand side of the building, if you think about it, as being where the addition is. So one of the things we kind of noticed right away on that side of the building, there's 3 big louvers on the building, that mechanical room that serves the existing gym. So we need to be cognizant of those. That's why there's like that little U-shaped kind of white area between them. We're still trying to fine tune that distance, but we need to keep some space there because that's how they service those units in the future. So if the unit goes down, that louver comes off, they pull that HVAC unit out, and that's how it gets replaced. So that's kind of why you see the shape that you do. That kind of center node is going to become important. You see the yellow there. That's kind of the lobby that's going to be shared between the existing gym and the new aux gym. And I think that was an important part of the program, talking to the district and how they use that space. That's really going to be a place that connects people. With that red box, you see there's a concession stand, and then up to the north of there, the gray spaces are restrooms. There's a family restroom, a male and a female restroom, and a janitor's closet. But the way we've designed this is that's kind of like this kind of nucleus of both buildings. But you have the ability to lock off one or the other. So if there was an event in the main gym, you could lock the door and people couldn't get in the auxiliary gym, and vice versa. There's an event in the auxiliary gym. So that's going to help, with after hours use and maybe community use of those spaces. One of the things that we kind of noticed on our first site visit to the high school, and it kind of came back up in recent conversations, is, when you walk in the high school right now, you kind of walk in at what's like the first floor, but it's kind of a level higher than the playing surface itself. Well, that's kind of an accessibility issue in a lot of ways. That elevator in that building really doesn't go down to that level, and you guys have those old stair lifts that take forever to get somebody down. And I think the first time I was there it was being repaired, and I've heard since it breaks down a lot. So as taking the opportunity of this, we're actually going to do an elevator on the edge of the building there to kind of help solve the accessibility in the existing gymnasium, as well as provide accessibility to the new auxiliary gym. So we're anticipating, based on the grades, that there's going to be a slight finish floor difference between the two, so it's where we set the floor of the building at. So we think that based on the grades we see, and we just got the survey on the card right down here, so we haven't had a chance to study yet, but we think that it's going to be set higher in the addition, so we'll have maybe a couple stairs up or ramp the building up to get into the aux gym and make sure it's fully accessible there. But that'll help get people over and down and through, so I think it's going to solve an existing problem. We're lucky to do that as part of this project. The gym itself is going to plan right now bleachers for 400. It's my understanding that'll kind of cover a whole parade event and also provide bleachers if there are an event that are with spectators and stuff. Those 2 purple kind of spaces that flank it are just storage. Every gym has a lot of storage. Wrestling mats, you have, balls, cones, all types of stuff. I feel like you could never have enough storage other than, especially in the PE space. On the left of the plan there, the orange shapes you see there are the PE locker rooms for both male and female. They'll include showers and toilet facilities, and then the 2 gray boxes there. One is a laundry thing. I understand that there's a lot of laundry produced with all the athletic programs and stuff, so we're going to plan for a new commercial size washer and dryer there, and then we're going to have access to mechanical mezzanine. So we're going to build a mechanical mezzanine on top of that locker room block to feed back into the building. That way you don't have to kind of build that square footage, and it seems to work well when we do stuff like that. We're also going to be exploring in the near future here kind of how the massing works and how we tie in. I know if you look at that building right now, there's a lot of different elevations with the volume of the gym, the kind of door you enter, and the mechanical mezzanine and stuff. So when we come back next time, we'll show you kind of how they all tie together. But we're very cognizant of how that looks. We want it to look purposeful. We don't want it to look like you just stuck this on the side of the building. So we're about 16,000 square feet. Yeah, that's where we're at right now. So I'd be happy to answer any questions or elaborate anything else.
motion to approve the schematic design documents? Motion by Ms. Bard. Second by Mr. Johar. All in favor of approving the schematic design documents, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Hear none. Item E is to consider approval of revised district wellness policy. Ms. Kinley. Thank you.
I'm here today to bring to you our our revised wellness policy. We've had a policy in place for many, many years, but we did receive some national and state guidance in the spring that we needed to make some adjustments just to meet all of the physical activity and nutrition goals that we have set out for us. So tonight it's a 4-page document. You can certainly read more of this in detail, but for the participants here in the room and anyone who might be watching, just to let you know that the wellness plan will be adjusted to include goals instead of big ideas. We all have goals for nutrition promotion and education, for physical activity, and then other school-based wellness activities that include those for mental health and mental wellness. A few things that I want to mention for maybe one or two of these goals would be that we already have a lot of great and strong partnerships with the UK Extension Office, with the hospital, with other community partners like the Penny Roll Center, Mountain Comprehensive. There are several others. I'll probably forget to name them, so we'll just kind of stop there. But I do feel like we're well on the way to having a lot of these strategies in place. I do want to say specifically on page 2, and I know that the principals will want to hear this, that this plan was developed in partnership with Baptist Health. They were really a big influence for us because I'll mention Katie Elkins. She works with a program there that helps schools get wellness policies in place that meet these standards, and she has been instrumental working with us and our PE teachers to make the plan. So it wasn't something that we just found and decided, oh, that looks good. We've been meeting over the course of the year to create this. But specifically, you all want to know in italics on page 2 that the district prohibits the use of physical activity as punishment, examples of running laps or push-ups, and withholding the physical activity or physical education time for behavior management. So of course that's talking about during the school day. So that's important for us to know, and that the district would prohibit withholding physical activity for a time for a student to make up work. So if a student needed an alternate physical activity instead of what they're normally doing in the gym, then or wherever they are, then that would be something that the teacher can be, a little more creative and find them something to do other than having them sit out. I will stop there. There's a lot more we can talk about, but I want to give the schools a shout out because I don't even know if you know this, but last year in 2024, there were 1,120 schools in the nation who were recognized for having a well-developed wellness policy, and all 7 of our schools that could apply for that would be all of our elementary schools, our middle school, and our high school all received that national recognition. So out of those 1,120, we have 7 of those. And so we're well on our way. We've got 7 more stars to earn, and then we'll have something big. But this bonus policy will get us further down the road. So if you have any questions, I'm glad to answer, but I'll send a copy to the principals and we'll get their SPDM policies updated if needed to match this. Okay.
Thanks for your work on this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Yonts. Second by Ms. Bard. All in favor of approving the revised district wellness policy, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I hear none. We're down now to consider adding an instructional assistant kindergarten aide at Longest Elementary.
Thank you, Chairman Rager, board members. Longest Elementary, now that we're past the start of the school year, has begun to look at the needs of their students, and specifically with this, their kindergarten students and some of the social and academic intervention needs that they have. And after reviewing those needs and also working with Mr. Perkins and looking at their Title I funds available, they would like to use those funds to add an instructional assistant in the kindergarten classroom as a kindergarten aide. And I would recommend that the board approve the posting of instructional assistant kindergarten aide at Longest Elementary. And again, it's using Title I funds.
I'll make a motion. Second by Ms. Yance. All in favor of adding the instructional assistant kindergarten aide at Longest, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. Thank you. We're down to our board consent agenda items. This is approval of the minutes of the prior board meeting, approval for a shortened school day for student number 4, considering leave of absence, facilities use, and field trip request. We've had a chance to review those. Any questions regarding any of these items? If not, I'll need a motion to approve. Motion by Ms. Bard. Second by Ms. Yance. All in favor of approving the board consent agenda items, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. And we are down to
Second and adjourn.
You beat me to it.
I think I'll do a second for Mr. Johar on the adjournment. All right, all in favor of adjourning, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none and we are adjourned.